I have replayed the farming sequence in The Last of Us Part 2 so many times, I might as well have a PhD in agriculture. Assuming, of course, there's some kind of PhD in agriculture that requires an obsessive eye to detail towards the furniture in Ellie and Dina's farm, and no knowledge of actual farming whatsoever. On that auspicious note, here are a few of my favorite farming-related things in TLOU 2, including some you may have missed. Keep in mind, this list is not meant to include all the little details that went into making the farm a perfect little slice of heaven. Just a few of my favorites. Last but not least, if you haven't finished TLOU 2, consider this your final warning. Here be spoilers. Let's start off with a little photo over by the window here. If you look closely, you can see Ellie and Dina with baby JJ. Although it's hard to see, it captures a very heartwarming moment in a game otherwise designed to make you feel a crippling case of don't get glad, get sad. Next off, we have an album called Addictive Personality by the fictional band The Sick Habit on Ellie's bedside table. The first time I saw this album cover, I interpreted it as a subtle reference to Ellie's obsession with revenge, an obsession Neil Druckmann compares to drug addiction. It's up to you to decide whether the reference is intentional. Just as importantly, you can tell me whether replaying this farming sequence 80 million times, in the vain hope of a happy ending, constitutes addiction. Because if it does, I can start a support group. Tell me I'm not the only person who would benefit from a TLOU support group right now. Moving into the hallway, we have another photo on this little table here. It's arguably the hardest photo to see, but there are several people on horses, presumably Ellie and Dina. I welcome any additional insight in the comments below so that I can finally sleep at night. After spending some time cooing over JJ's cuteness in the mirror, take a look at the bathtub. Here you'll see a toy shark. Maybe in some alternate dimension filled with positivity and popcorn, baby JJ and Lev bond over their shared love of sharks. A girl could dream, right? In this room, we find a plethora of paintings and posters. It seems that in between bouts of killing, punning, and guitar strumming, Ellie found time to paint dozens of masterpieces that would sell for millions at Comic-Con. Going downstairs, here is a photo of Ellie, Jesse, and Dina in the good old days. You know, before a certain pack of wolves showed up on their doorstep. Let me just say that I really wanted to see more of these three together. I think Jesse's friendship with both Ellie and Dina showed a remarkable amount of maturity. Likewise, I really appreciate how Dina clearly still cares for Jesse, even after they broke up. It was an ingredient conspicuously lacking in a certain other love triangle that we won't mention here. Speaking of Jesse, let's talk about his mom. I'm sure everyone who's played this game has seen her letter, particularly her line, "There will always be a place for you, Ellie, and JJ and Jackson if you change your mind." A line I may or may not be clinging to, like a toddler with a teacup at the world's most tantalizing tea party. This next detail is one you'll definitely need headphones for. If you listen very carefully, you can hear Dina humming "Take on Me." Let me know when you experience that aha moment. Over by the record player, we have another photo, this one of Joel and Ellie with a horse. It's such a wholesome photo. Back when everyone's favorite father-daughter duo were neighbors in Jackson. And yes, that pun was so intended. Speaking of puns, let's take a look at all the little pun books scattered around the farm. There's To Get to the Other Side, which you'll notice has a chicken on the cover. Another pun book in the room with the guitar. And a third one on the kitchen counter. Maybe they'll add another book to the series entitled Cruel and Unusual Punishment. Next off, we have a Texas magnet on the refrigerator. And let me just say that it is a most Texcellent reference. As fans of Part 1 will no doubt remember, Joel is originally from Texas, hence the nickname Tess gave him. In other words, we have yet another piece of evidence here, showing just how much Joel means to Ellie. Going back to the record player, let's talk about what happens if you don't turn the music on for Dina. Which, side note, why would you do that? You must be the same sort of psychopath who didn't high-five Ellie in the original The Last of Us.
Really? Just gonna leave me hanging?
Unsurprisingly, Dina will get impatient, as evidenced by her dialogue here.
Hey, Ellie, where's my music?
It's another one of those Naughty Dog details that sometimes fool me into thinking I'm dealing with real people and not just pixels on a screen. Who says fictional characters can't be friends? As I close this video, I want to remind you this list is by no means extensive. There are plenty of other little details at the farm to fangirl and fanboy over. Let me know what your favorite part is about the farm, and also, do let me know if you too would benefit from a Last of Us support group.